Hello and welcome to another edition of Pulp Picks. My name is Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
And we're here to give you this week's reading recommendations a day late.
Yeah.
Due to the holidays. And it's new comic book day here at Pulp Comics and Games, meaning that all the new releases, so, you know,
not technically.
Well, right, yeah. So again, Diamond is late getting us stuff. It's supposed to show up Friday now, I guess. So that's just going to be next week. So that's just Boom, Titan, Dynamite, and a handful of other kind of smaller publishers. So if you were looking for those. But yeah, we do this every week as the new issues come out. Got some holiday time in, some time with the family, some eating some food and whatever. Did you get any time to read?
I did. And because of that, my pick this week is going to be Exceptional X-Men issue 4. And it's funny that you mentioned like getting some time with the family because like that's very much like a part of this issue. So this issue is kind of split into two main storylines. One is following one of our newer characters, Bronze. Basically, she's kind of got like a similar power set to Colossus, but she can't really control it. Like she just kind of like, it just kind of happens to her when she gets stressed out and stuff.
Right, yeah, it seems kind of emotionally triggered.
Yeah, so this issue is her kind of trying to like figure out like, trying to be more comfortable with her powers and just kind of like being herself in general, like interacting with people. The other half is, as you can tell from the cover, Iceman has come to pay a visit. Yeah. And Kitty isn't like thrilled to see him, to say the least. Like there's definitely some like elements of like, oh, that like one relative that you don't like super get along with coming to visit. Yeah. But yeah, there's just a lot of tension there, and there's like kind of like a little mystery going as to like, why is Bobby here? Like what's going on? And then like as the issue goes on, you kind of like figure it out. And it's like, it makes total sense. It's just like, oh yeah, no, because like so much of the series so far has been like Kitty trying to like distance herself from the X-Men, like create this like life for herself outside of all the superhero stuff. And this issue kind of gets into like part of like why that is, like how other characters are responding to that, and then the possible consequences of her trying to create this life without kind of actively dealing with the reasons that she chose to do this in the first place.
Right.
Both these storylines are very fun. The art from Carmen Canero continues to be fantastic. Every time they're on a book now, it's kind of just one of those books that has to be on my radar just because I love their stuff so much. But no, that's great. Eva Ewing is a fantastic writer. Loved her on Black Panther, love her on this. Just of the X-Men books coming out right now, this continues to probably be my favorite of them. Yeah. And there's a lot of good X books coming out right now. So
titles are solid, yeah.
Yeah, but no, just absolutely loving it. Super excited to see what happens next time because there's going to be some awkward conversations. Like, so some revelations come up, and I don't know that everyone's going to be able to handle them too well.
Yeah. Well, what's more, holiday spirit than having a snowman show up for family together?
Yeah. But speaking of weird, like, family like drama, what more could be dramatic than stuff to do with like Greek mythology than Wonder Woman?
Oh yeah, very much so. All right, so I went with Absolute Wonder Woman number 3. Similar to the Ultimate line over at Marvel, the Absolute line here has been hitting on all cylinders, and we've had to pick pretty much almost every issue. With a couple minor exceptions. I think there was a week where we were off. The Absolute Wonder Woman number 1 week we were off.
But good news, we still have second printings.
Yes. So we've got, what is it? The Tetracide, right? Is showing up. It's this giant evil demon from some hellish dimension. Yeah. We're not exactly sure why it's showing up, or I missed why it's showing up, but it is, and Wonder Woman is there to try to stop it.
Like that's the thing. Like she definitely knows more about the situation than like anyone else here, but like we're kind of getting it like piecemealed in a way where like we're kind of like learning like the scale of the danger as like as it's happening.
Well, and as is done in storytelling, we're folding in both what's happening right now, but then also getting some of the backstory context as it pertains to what's happening in the moment. And so we're getting reveals about Wonder Woman's past. So this particular Wonder Woman is an Amazonian, but as punishment to the Amazons, she was taken from them and raised in hell instead. So it has changed her perceptions a little bit, I think. but mostly changed kind of her power set. Not really her power set, but kind of her strengths and weaknesses.
She uses like a lot more magic. She's got like magical items. They're like obviously one of the big things when they first showed off is like, oh, got this big sword. She's got like Pegasus, like the Pegasus.
Right. Post
mortem.
Post Zeus's punishment.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, it's weird to see kind of, a dead horse and or a zombie horse, I guess, and with wings and, a powerful female warrior having very nice, tender moments together. Yeah. They obviously have a kinship. But so she's trying to convince the military. They have, where are they? They're hanging out by San Francisco? Is that where they're at? West Coast?
Well, yeah, because it's a new city. Because Superman's got Metropolis, Batman's got Gotham.
Right. What's
it called again? Gateway City.
Gateway. Yeah, that's why I was thinking because obviously San Francisco. She's trying to tell them look, there's nothing you can do. You can bomb, but eventually, this thing is just going to chew you up, literally. Yeah. And then that's just the beginning of it. Your souls will be tortured for eternity.
However bad you think it's going to be, it will be much worse.
Yeah. And then we get a major revelation about her. Yeah. And Steve Trevor and a price that she paid in order to help him out. Yeah. It was super cool.
It was super cool, yeah. Without getting the spoilers, you very much get a sense in this issue, truly, how much despite, because we talked about this before with the other issues, despite being raised in hell, that, Diana's just a character, she sees, a wrong that needs to be righted, and she will, do whatever it takes to do that. And the cost is really no consequence to her.
Right, yeah. So if it needs to be done, it just needs to be done. So even though she thinks that fighting the Tetracide will probably kill her, and in the most horrific ways that she has already described to other people, she does it without hesitation, just like she was willing to bargain for Steve being returned from hell to Earth. Yep. So when the reveal comes along, go back to the cover. And check it out. You'll see that there was a message on the cover all along, kind of pointing to this. But yeah, it's really cool. I'm still loving the aesthetic. I really like, when they do Wonder Woman, where she kind of shows up in modern times or in our reality or however you want to say it, and people think she's naive because she's got this super altruistic view, and she doesn't really necessarily know the customs or the mannerisms or, the vernacular really well. And so they just kind of think oh, what a nice hayseed, she doesn't really get it. So, we're talking down to her. And it turns out that, all along, all those things might be true, that she doesn't really understand the context of a lot of cultural stuff. She gets how the world works. She understands better than anybody else. She understands that there are consequences and prices that have to be paid. She's just really willing to do it for what's right.
She'll just accept that she will have to pay those consequences.
Yeah, exactly. So her moral fiber, I guess, is just so much stronger than anybody could expect. So they just assume that she doesn't truly understand, but she does better than they do. And I love it when that gets flipped back at somebody else and they finally realize oh, I'm the idiot. I'm the one who doesn't really understand. So, and this book is doing a great job with it. Kelly Thompson, I've really enjoyed a number of things lately, but this one in particular is just a masterpiece so far. So good all the way around. And the art lends itself really well to horrific hell pieces. So, all right, well, we kind of led with a teaser last week that this might show up on the list if you watched last week.
Which if you didn't, why are you here?
Yeah, how did you get here?
You should be watching all the other videos to get caught up with, because you're missing all the lore and details.
Sure. We went with
Metamorpho #1.
The Element Man.
Yes, Metamorpho, the Element Man #1. So this is a book that as soon as I saw it, similar to like New Gods last week, it's just like, oh, I've got to check this out because it's Al Ewing. This is the first like actual ongoing book at DC. He's done a couple other things here and there the last couple of years. But obviously, if you've been watching this, you know we love his Marvel stuff. I love what little indie stuff he's done with We Only Find Them When They're Dead.
Yeah.
Like, he's just one of those guys where if he's writing something, I want to read it. And him doing Metamorpho is so much fun. Steve Lieber on art is so much fun. Like, that's the best way to describe this book, is it's fun. It's so fun.
Yeah, so Metamorpho is kind of a goofy character.
Kind of, yeah.
Not quite so goofy as, say, Plastic Man, where he's kind of the butt of a joke, but he's more of a, I don't know, he's a product of the times that they created him, I guess. And so Ewing leans heavily into let's I don't know, there's almost kind of an Austin Powers kind of vibe, not in like the creepy over the top.
Yeah, like there's like, it's very much like riffing on that like very 60s vibe of just like, hey, what's up, metamaniacs? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
everybody's fab and they're having a swinging time.
Yeah, like the way it plays with that is very fun. But at the same time, what I love is he's able to do that without like ignoring like, yeah, there's like some body horror elements to this because like his body is just basically the periodic table now, and if you mess with that, it can get real weird real quick.
Yes.
There's that. There's like an element of tragedy of just like Rex kind of like wants to be human again, but
does he?
Yeah, and like, are the people who could make him human really invested in doing that? Like,
we're laying a lot of groundwork very subtly.
Yeah, like there's stuff here that like just seems like a random aside in here, but like, you know, it's just like this will probably come back in a way.
Yep.
But yeah, so basically the gist of this issue, outside of a little thing at the beginning where we get a certain character that this is probably the most I've gotten to do in 85 years, a certain master of the mystic arts. Ooh. Yeah. But probably not the one you're thinking of. Trust me, you'll know it when you see him.
Yeah.
But after that we get there's a break-in at Sega Industries. Someone's in there trying to do something. It's not exactly clear what exactly, but it becomes a problem that Metamorpho and another character have to deal with, and it very much becomes apparent that it's just like, oh, whatever's going on here is way more dangerous than we think it is.
Yes.
Like we thought this was like just like a random break-in. No, this is actually like, this is real trouble happening right now.
You know, I should have brushed up on my history of the character. Because I know that in the past I've looked into the creators and kind of what was happening in DC at that time and what have you. But it's been a while, and Metamorpho for me has always, I get that part of the aesthetic is that it's supposed to be a little unsettling and not necessarily like make you scared or whatever. It's slightly on edge. Like not quite nails on a chalkboard, but maybe like a needle scratch on a record. It's supposed to be slightly off-putting.
Like there's a certain level of uncanny valley, because like, I mean, like imagine you're in a room with a guy where like constantly like weird different smells are coming off of him. Like one moment he smells like ammonia, the next moment he smells like bark. Like it's weird. Like
reminds me of Here a couple of years ago. So they've got his, you know, like design wise, he's into different sectors. But you know, so it's kind of like evenly divided, but then each one is a different texture and color and everything, and that's off-putting, right? There's no symmetry there, and where there is symmetry is in his face, and it's lacking details that make that symmetry again unsettling. He's kind of creepy looking.
Well, like there's a reason his nickname is the Fab Freak, like
and so that's really what he's very akin to the Creeper, I think, in kind of what DC was going for at the time.
He's very much in that kind of like same area of just like they're heroes, but they're like this weird little like side corner where like there's just something about them that's like you're not sure what to put your finger on, but like you're not sure if you want to hang out with them.
Right? Yeah, they're slightly off. I think it's. If you go back and watch any like 60s TV shows where they're trying to depict characters that teenagers and 20-somethings in particular can identify with. It's that whole counterculture.
Yeah.
There's something off about us, but we embrace it. We think it's great. And definitely something that Al Ewing was trying to... That was a long way to get to this point. But that's what Al Ewing feels like he's tapping into in this book, which doesn't surprise, because Ewing really breaks down a character to their elements and did so with Hulk. We're going horror. Thor, we're going mythology and kind of the spoken history of characters and that kind of thing. And X-Men, I don't know, strong leadership and just kind of team dynamics. I'm not sure. It was very storm oriented.
Yeah, there was a lot going on with that one, like a lot of stuff with like finding your place in the world, like creating community, because that was very much part of
community. There you go.
Yeah. Here it's very much kind of playing into like, what does it mean to like be made up of all these disparate elements? Because again, this is like Metamorpho, like what if Indiana Jones became like a superhero, but like a really weird superhero.
Yeah.
Like it's a pitch that you make in a vacuum, and someone will go like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
But it's fantastic. It helps that Steve Lieber is just amazing on that. There's so many like little flourishes. Like you'll see when like an element gets mentioned, he'll work its placement in the periodic table into like the art somewhere.
Yeah.
There, like the expression work is just absolutely fantastic. He captures the silliness and the horror of things so well.
This whole book is really well done. Metamorpho, also the color palette is important, and I think that they did that really well too. In kind of that, if you took like a Hanna-Barbera cartoon from like the '60s and just turned up the vibrance a little bit, it's that similar kind of pattern or color tones, I should say. A lot of oranges and purples and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of fun, and Again, I'm familiar with the character, has certainly popped into a number of books that I've read, but I've never done a deep dive on Metamorpho, and I enjoyed it very much. It felt like kind of, introducing you to the character, and the premise happened so well that you don't really have to. I'm sure you have a much longer history with
Probably
Metamorpho.
not much more than you, but like, again, like we talk about all the time, this is a book where if you are a big fan of Metamorpho, you'll enjoy it. If you're just being like, hey, who's this character? You'll love it. They even have like a little like bit at the beginning that kind of like recaps his whole origin. That's done in a fun way.
And they kind of reiterated a little bit later too. Has Metamorpho really had much of anything since Crisis? I mean, most of it's pre-Crisis, right?
Yeah, like he'll show up in like a team book here or there, but that's kind of it.
Often in kind of he showed up in, was it Absolute Power? Did he show up for a minute? I mean, everyone kind of showed up for a minute there. Or maybe it was the DC vampire book that showed up recently because they couldn't bite him, or I don't know. He showed up in some event book recently, but it was a small cameo.
Yeah, he's just a character that doesn't really get his time to shine, and one of the things DC's been doing a lot recently is giving those characters the time to shine.
Thank you, DC. We asked for that for years, saying you've got such a huge stable, can we please get a handful more characters other than the main lineup for the Justice League? All right, well, you said you got some time to read. What else did you enjoy that was close to making it up here?
Let's see. Moon Knight was really good.
Moon Knight was good,
A lot happens in this issue. We really kind of started to get the feel for like what the rest of this chunk of the run is probably going to be about. Because like the first two issues were kind of like getting you reacquainted with the status quo, kind of setting up some of the new threats. And this one's just like, hey, things are going to get a lot worse before they get better kind of thing. So that was fun.
I know that I read the 2014 volume, but I didn't get the reference.
Oh, that was, I'm trying to remember if that was when Lemire or Warren Ellis was writing it. I think that might have been Warren Ellis's run.
It would have been whatever was earlier, because 2014 was...
Yeah, that would have been Ellis, because I think that's when he first introduced like the Mr. Knight persona.
Yeah. So, okay, we'll have to talk off camera about who that was then.
Yeah.
What else?
The Marvel they've been doing the last couple of years, like they're kind of like one-shot comic, kind of setting some stuff up for the next year. So we got Time Slide.
Yep.
It's got some X-Men stuff going on in there, and as usual, teasing out a bunch of storylines coming, including if you might have seen recently, there's a new Hickman thing coming next summer called Imperial.
Yeah.
That seems to be space orientated. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. It's also going to be super funny considering we almost had him do Legion at DC a couple years back. If he ends up doing like the Imperial Guard at Marvel.
Well, yeah, one would think that that's kind of, you know.
Yeah, that would just be funny considering what is just the rip-off of the other.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, that was fun. What about you, Patrick?
Well, Justice League continues to be interesting. We found out that a character has been hiding something from the rest of the Justice League. That's going to have some pretty major implications going forward.
Another Magic character similar to this that really doesn't get play anymore, gets to do a lot. Like, this is probably the most that guy's gotten to do in
and
who knows how long.
For Justice, or for DC rather, kind of leaning into Magic heavily at a point where Marvel was kind of backing off on it a little bit with Justice League Dark and all that kind of stuff years ago. A lot of these Magic characters didn't get the dust knocked off of them, and now they are again. So some kind of obscure references happening. Iron Man, I thought, so this new Iron Man series, it's been really interesting. I know that people have been kind of lukewarm on it so far, but I think it's starting to pick up steam.
I think it helps that now he finally has a big sword. If we learned anything from Absolute Wonder Woman, big sword.
Big sword. More is more when it comes to swords. But there was, you know, I kind of felt like the first two issues, Tony just kept falling into the trap. And you know, for a futurist, it's kind of a bad way to you know, be going about doing things. So I really enjoyed this issue a lot better. The art is growing on me. I know it's not everybody's, but particularly the suits. The suits look really cool.
Suits look great.
I've almost got kind of like a steampunk kind of vibe to them right now. But that was really good. Amazing Spider-Man is better. I was kind of disappointed to hear that basically we're just getting the same writer in a #1 issue this coming year, but whatever. Yeah, we'll see. There's hope. Maybe we're just kind of transitioning out of it. But yeah, it was a good week. I really enjoyed a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So Good to let you know that our sale is continuing through the end of the year. So if you got a gift card or you got some Christmas cash or something like that, we are running a deal where if you buy 2 of certain categories like action figures, graphic novels, manga, you know, a bunch of stuff, you get 10 per dice. You get 10% off all of that item type. We're also continuing on the dollar books on sale at half off, so they're 50 cents a piece, and the bulk magic sale. So you've only got just under a week to get in here and take advantage of that.
So make sure you get in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as far as holiday hours go, for both New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, we're going to do limited hours. We'll be open 11 to 4. But we're expecting, well, Penguin already showed up. They shipped everything super early. So definitely Marvel and IDW and Dark Horse and those will be available on Wednesday. I assume that Lunar will show up today or tomorrow.
They usually show up
at the very least, they'll show up by Monday. So we'll have all of that stuff. We know that this week's Diamond stuff is scheduled to be delivered on Friday. So on New Year's Day, we will have comics available, but we'll only be open until 4 p.m. So you got to get in a little bit early. Hopefully you've got the day off and can do that. But until then, we're going to keep reading a whole bunch more comics and be prepared for new Comic Book Day video next week. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, share, and comment. And we will be back next week with a new video. Until then, enjoy the reading.
Yay, my copy of Hundreds of Beavers is shipped.